at a nice lunch or a nap or a little break, depending on which time zone you're in. We had a quick sandwich. We've got dinner in the crock pot. Hi, Christy. Yeah, so my daughter, my 17-year-old left because I had given them a strict schedule as far as when they have to be off the Wi-Fi. And so she claims she needs to go to the library and study with friends. So she left. And then my other two kiddos, I told them to clean their rooms while I'm on the Wi-Fi for now. But so far, we really haven't had any technical issues. Like, we're working through a few glitches, like the closed captioning, and you know, some of it is just, it's beyond our control. And Facebook and YouTube and all the different systems, every time we figure it out, they change something. So we just have to kind of roll with it. And that's what we do as women and crafters anyway. But thank you for your understanding and patience as we do this. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Trisha. Good to see you. Kind of see you, right? Kimberly, nice to see you on here too. All right, so our class today is my layouts class, and I'll show you while we're waiting for a few more people to jump on. It's a happy, colorful collection that I kind of mixed and matched together. And I said that was kind of my theme for this weekend, was mixing different things together. I saw this collection from Echo Park probably almost a year ago, and I loved it, but I was also very overwhelmed by the amount of smiley faces. I mean, it's great. I'm happy. I love all the smileys, but it was a lot. So being able to take it and mix it with some other neutrals really, I think, just defined it a little bit better, and being able to add some other pieces to it. So we'll go through our kit really quickly. You will need, this is our Bella Boulevard cutout that we're using for this. And I love taking these and then cutting them up. So you'll see on this, we're going to use the word friends. We're going to cut the forever right off of there. Okay. And then for the other one, you could leave it teen life, you could leave it friends forever, but I chose to take that off. If you've done, I think it was the Disney event that we did a year or two ago, I took a heart from the Christmas collection, and that's what we use for our Disney one. So when you look at these, don't just kind of be trapped with whatever theme they have chosen, because I feel like they're very customizable and you could kind of change it. I'm always thinking like, what else could I spell? What else could I do? So we are going to use this one. I love these because the work is done for you. If you don't want to mess with your cutting machine or downloading something, you've got everything here, and then they've got the traced inserts. Later tonight, you will work with a cut file that was actually cut on the Cricut and do it that way with Erica. So you will need this. It was separate in your box, and I will set this aside for just a minute. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Hi, Amy. And Linda. Hi, Linda. Okay, so in your class kit, you should have the very important cutting guide. We are going to be cutting this class, and it does show you the pictures of the finished product, but they're also in the little booklet. So in here, you should have this Echo Park full collection pack. It is super cute, but see what I mean? Like, look at all these smileys. It was kind of like, whoa, what am I gonna do with this? But it's just got some great color combinations and some really good, that are more like neutral backgrounds that we can use. So we're going to have a blast with this. All right, and then what I mixed it with was some Chamel Reasons to Smile. This is the papery pack. I'm going to give you a disclaimer. It's an amazing pack with so many pieces, but they are very thin. So you'll want to be careful when we're adhering them. You get 2 of every single piece. So what I've seen other designers do is actually double it up if they want to make it thicker, or they put it on white cardstock just to give it a little more stability, but they are very thin. I didn't have a problem with any of them, but I just want you to know it's not like your typical die cut that we'll be working with. Okay, next we have a few pieces of cardstock that we're going to use for our cut files. You should have some squares. Oh, good. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Hillary. Okay, we've got the white cardstock. Again, it's not the best quality, but I wanted to give you something as a placeholder and not blow my budget on that. Okay, and then some of our fun papers, Chamel, and you can see it works really well with this Echo Park collection. So we've got the stripe, got the orange and rainbow, and then you should have your background pieces, which I've said many times this weekend, I love a grid. So we've got the black grid, which is actually a Vicky Bouton paper. We'll be using that. That's for the bonus layout, which we probably will not get to today. I have a blue grid, which is one of my favorites. I have so many packages of this paper. I believe it's Bo Bunny. Yes, it is. It's a Bo Bunny one. And then a wood grain. Really pretty light wood grain, and then this one's a Jen Hadfield. So a lot of American crafts mixed with Echo Park, and I feel like I had said yesterday that sometimes the collections get repetitive year after year, and I think that we want to use more of our stash. So if you have a new collection you're in love with, but it reminds you of something else, or you start going through all of your papers and thinking like, oh, I have something that could go with that. So it's kind of just expanding our creative mind a little bit so that we can get the new paper, but yet we feel like it looks different than just the same old, because I feel like sometimes the Easter collection, for example, will look the same year after year after year. So what could make it different? And then pulling in American Crafts so far has been a really good place to look, because they'll have so many different collections and designers, and you know, just to be able to do this. American Crafts is changing a lot, but I'm hoping that it'll be an exciting change. I can't wait to see what Paige and Vicky and what everyone does. Okay, so we are going to be cutting first. I know that cutting can get tedious. If you've already done an album this morning, you hopefully did cutting last night, but we are going to get our trimmers and work through our papers. So we'll cut our papers, and then after that, we will start backing these cut files. Okay, so you're gonna need your trimmer, and then when we get to part 2, you're going to need pencil, eraser, fussy cut scissors. Not necessarily a ruler unless you're really worried about, you know, centering or getting things exactly like mine. We will do our best to get through these 2 layouts in the 3 hours, and then we've got a little bit of time tomorrow too if we need to finish things up, but I would love for you to have 2 complete layouts, and then the third one, that is the bonus, you will have the pieces cut, and it goes together really quickly once. I think the hardest part of this one was actually the design, like me calculating how long and how wide each piece should be. So once we have them all cut, this one will go together really fast. And I think this one is a great layout for school or a dance or just fun, like a birthday party, or yeah, I just think it's happy. When you smile, I smile. Okay, so let me get these out of the way. Keep these in order. All right. Let me move my booklet out of the way so that I've got it later. Oh, hi, Andrea. Thank you. I hope you got a little lunch break in. That was a marathon that you did today, getting that album done. It's beautiful. I can't wait to do that one. I was working on getting everything ready for our next sale. So we'll have the B sale after this class, and then I have another sale that's the D sale. We won't do it live, but I'm going to add an album, and it's called the Basics sale, and it's going to have the basics: adhesive, some dots, some ink, yeah, just all those things that we need and run out of, right? Foam squares, tons and tons of foam squares. I've already had people messaging me asking for the squares and the strips. So that's all going to be posted later today. I got it all photographed, but didn't quite have enough time before I hopped online here. So our This is actually page 2 with the 2 American Crafts papers, nothing on the back. Okay, so we'll do that last. And we're gonna start this side. So this first one that we're going to do is the sunshine paper. Sorry, I should have said this. Post-its would be helpful if you have Post-it notes, because we are going to label these A, B, and C. Okay, and I went over this multiple times. I'm hoping that I didn't make any mistakes, but it's very possible. So as we sort these, as we cut them and sort them, we will put them in the piles A, B, and C, and it will be easy then to pull it according to the layout. Okay, so in my Echo Park stack, I'm going to find that yellow there it is, Happy Suns. I'll move the rest of this out of the way. And then I am going to make A, B, and C. And I might have put them a little high, but I'm not sure if you'll see here if I can catch them on the camera. Yeah. A, B, and C. Let me pull my mat just a little bit. Okay. So now we're ready to go. Put a new blade in my trimmer. I hate it when the blade starts to get dull and you've got all the fuzzies. And I've been cutting a lot of paper for kits. We're going to have Doodlebug, the snow kits later for this sale. So we've been trying to get all of that set up and ready to go. Okay. All right. So with our yellow Suns paper, you can cut the product strip off. I think it's easier than to measure. It doesn't necessarily impact this one. We just want to make sure that the smiley faces are going in the right direction, the same as it shows here on our paper, our cutting guide. Okay, so for the yellow Suns, took the product strip off. The first thing I'm going to do is, I'm turning mine upside down so I can measure. So I'm going to go 4.5, 4.5, and then I'm going to turn it and do 6. So that's my first piece, letter A, 4.5 by 6. The next piece I will need is this really long and skinny one. Okay, and this one is going to be 1 3/8. So if you're like me, you might need your readers at this point, because anytime we do the 8ths, I'm like, oh, but sorry, that's what it needs to be. 1 3/8 by 11. So I'm gonna put it right here. Your 3/8 is in between the 1/4 and the 1/2. Okay, so 1 3/8. And then we want it to be 11 inches long so that we have this nice long strip. Okay, and then that is also for layout A. And then our last 3 pieces are for layout C. I'm gonna go ahead and cut across at 3.5. Hopefully that won't confuse you, but then that way I save this extra big piece of paper. Okay, so I've turned it horizontally, and I'm gonna put it right here at 3.5 inches. And then this one is a nice extra. And then I'll turn it and I'll do these. So we need 2 strips that are 1 1/4 by 3.5. So I've got 1 1/4 by 3.5. And then 1 1/4 by 3.5. And then the last one is going to be 1 1/4 by 3. So I'm going to do the 1 1/4 here, and then I will turn it and then just trim off that little 1/2 inch. You don't have to do it that way. I just like to save my big pieces of paper. You never know when you can use a scrap, right? And I would much rather keep a nice big scrap than a teeny tiny one. Okay, so these 3 small pieces are all for letter C. so I'm gonna go ahead and put that aside. I am very fast when I start cutting, but again, I do this for a living. I cut all day long, so I apologize if I seem like I'm speedy. I'll try to take breaks and hopefully you can catch up. If you finish cutting the suns, the next paper that we want from our collection is this beautiful stripe. There it is. So it's the stripe on one side and then the pretty pink with the white stars on the back. For the most part, we are using the pink side, okay? So we'll be using the S. I don't think anything on this one. And then we're going to be using the pink for our strips, okay? So really the only striped part are these first two strips. And the reason I tell you that, I have to laugh, because if you've ever taken a class with the sweetest Jana Eubank, she'll say it drives her crazy if you've cut it on the wrong side and then you flip it over and then it's like you have that kind of like ridge on your paper. And I get annoyed with that too. That's why I have to laugh. I love her. If you've never taken a class with her, she's incredible. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the product strip off just so it is out of the way. Okay, so our first two are going to be the stripe. So I'm just gonna turn it. They're very simple, 1 inch by 11 inch. We need that twice, okay? So we've got 1 inch, and then I'm gonna do one more at 1 inch. And then I will turn both of these and do 11. Okay, so those are our two for our bonus layout. They are the border strip at the bottom. Now I'm going to turn the paper over so that we don't have that ridge issue, and we'll cut the rest. Oh, she does. I agree, Andrea. She does such a good job. And she's just genuinely a sweet, happy person. Okay, so for the pink side, the first thing that we're going to do is the longer strip. It's another 1/8. I'm sorry. It's 1 5/8. So what we want to do, actually, that's my bumpy side. So you want to find the 5/8. It's in between the 1/2 and the 3/4. Okay, so there's your 1 5/8. And then I'm going to turn it, and we need 1 5/8 by 11. Okay, and that's going to be for our layout A. And then the last part is for our strips on layout C. So I'm going to turn my pink, and I'm going to cut all of them at 4 inches. So I've got 4 inch. That leaves me this nice giant scrap for later. And then we need 3 of these that are going to be 1 1/4 by 4 inches. So 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and 1 1/4. All right, and then those will go with our C pile. I am left-handed. Yes, I am. No, I probably do it the wrong way, Michelle. So, and I've shared this before, so I'm left-handed, but I cut right-handed. There are a lot of things that I do, yeah, either way. Part of it, like, you have to adapt because everything is made right-handed for the most part. Like, the computer mouse typically is always on the right side. When I was in college, when I was in the computer lab, a lot of public restrooms are made right-handed. Yeah, just a lot of things. And what's funny, in my family, my dad is left-handed, My mom was left-handed. She was actually slapped with a ruler at school until she became right-handed. So she does things with both hands. My uncle was left-handed. My cousin is left-handed. My grandpa was left-handed. And my daughter, Lauren, my oldest, is left-handed. So it seems to be a strong recessive gene in our family. And Lauren had to do cognitive testing on what day is it? She did it on Thursday. She had to do some cognitive testing. And one of the questions they asked her was which hand, and she said left. And then they asked me, has she always been left-handed or is this new? And I'm like, why do you ask that? And then they said, well, is anyone else in the family left-handed? And I said, I am. Is there a problem? Like, what? So anyway, yes, I am lefty. I do it. So I may do things backwards. I apologize, but I'm left-handed, but you'll see me cut with my right hand. I blame that on I never had a left-handed desk until college. Oh. Okay, I think it froze for a second. Hopefully we're back. Okay, Joe, thank you. Thank you, Joe. Okay, sorry, it froze. I got a message. That's why it froze. I'm going to do a happy dance for a second. Both boxes made it to Puerto Rico, the last missing boxes. So Olga got her box. I got messages this morning that from USPS that the boxes were found and were going to be delivered today. Hallelujah, because I really wanted them to have all of their goodies. Okay, so hopefully you've had time to cut both of those. Now we're going to do the 3x4 cards. And we really don't use a whole lot of those. You're gonna have a lot of good extras. Mine happen to be right on top. Okay, so we need this Smile and Be Happy card. We need this journal card. And then we're going to use this When I Smile, You Smile, or When You Smile, I Smile. That's our title card later on. And that one is going to be 3x3. Okay, so I'm just gonna start cutting these. I will say that Tim Holtz has done a lot for left-handers. Like he's really tried, and I appreciate that because one of his media mats, he has a lefty version. He's got some good lefty scissors. Like I appreciate that. Okay, so we need this one, Smile and Be Happy. It's gonna go to layout C. I do know a lot of fun facts about left-handers. Like most presidents are left-handed, but also most serial killers. So I don't know what that says about us as left-handed people, but I think we tend to be more creative, take it or leave it. All right, my last one, I will cut down to 3x3. So this is a 4-inch card. So I'm going to take 1/2 inch off the bottom and 1/2 inch off the top. Okay, and then we've got all 3 of our pieces, and that is for layout C. Everybody doing okay? Katie. Oh, so Katie, are you a lefty too? Yes, Kelly. Okay, Katie is my uncle. Okay. Yep. Okay, see? That's good. We can have a club, right? I will say, so the one thing I love, how many times have I said this weekend? This could be a drinking game. I love a grid or a graph, right? I love that. All of my notebooks are grid or graph paper, and I think it's because I can turn it and then the spiral doesn't bother where my hand is. And I was a huge fan of the Becky Higgins notebooks. I don't know if you've ever tried them, but they're really good quality. I love them, and they're a great size. And initially, way back when, she had a grid option, the graph paper, and I bought a lot. I wish I had bought so many more. And ever since anytime she comes out with a new one, I'm like, please do a graph, please. And they'll say they weren't popular. I'm like, well, but for left-handed people, they are. Because if you've ever tried to write in a spiral notebook with your left hand, it's very tough. But I get most of my notebooks now, I'll look you know, there's just something about a nice new notebook. But I will look, you know, if I'm at Barnes & Noble or a stationery shop, or I also like Erin Condren. I can get her notebooks as a graph paper. And then I've always got them with me to sketch or just use. I love them. Okay, our next one is this kind of combo paper, which Echo Park has been doing more and more. And their brand new catalog, they changed it up again, and they've got kind of tags and some 2x2s. And it's nice because you get all of these different sizes on the one sheet. That being said, we're not going to use those. We are actually using this great muted other side because it's a really good background for our layout. We are going to use this happy face border at the bottom. So we'll trim that first, and then we will flip this over. This is a little hard to see when it's white on white. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball where it lines up. And then this one, we will need 11 inches and 1 inch. So I'm gonna do, you want the 1 inch to be the smaller piece right here. So it looks like this. Okay, so that is our layout, and that is for layout A. That's our bottom border. Okay, then we're going to flip this to the back side, and this is, like I said, that nice smiley. So we're gonna do this one 11 by 10 and 1 by 10. So I'm gonna turn it first and do 10 inches. So cut that ridge off. Okay, and now I need the 11 on the left side and then the 1 inch on the right side. Okay, and those are both, oops, those are both for layout A. Yep, same, Lori. I get it. Yes, Katie. Okay, I think I saw a Lefty store when we were in New York, but we're supposed to go to Disney for spring break. We're supposed to go to Disney World. It's going to be a little different for us this time, just because we've had a lot change in our family in the last few months. But I will have to look for that if they still have it at Disney Springs. And I'm trying to educate. I hadn't really paid attention, and we are huge Disney fans. But I hadn't paid attention to like the new lightning lane and just a lot of things we've got to learn quickly before we go for spring break. But that was where my kids wanted to go. I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do. And we're lucky we're in the vacation club, so that part, like, we're spoiled because basically our room and board is taken care of with our points, and then we just have to pay an arm and a leg for tickets. Okay, so for this next one, this nice floral, we're actually not using this at all. This is like a really cool 60s, 70s vibe, but it was too much for me. We are using this side, okay? So it'll be some of our strips on our bonus layout, and then it's for our cut file. Okay, so I'm gonna take the product strip off the bottom, get it out of the way. Okay. And then the first one we need is 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so again, that's between your 1/4 inch and your 1/2 inch. It's really skinny. I'll show you why. So this ends up being underneath our letter I. That's why it's this teeny tiny strip. And we're gonna cut this to 11 inches. Okay. Next, we have our strips, and they're all gonna be 4 inches. So I'm gonna cut this all the way across at 4 inches. That way I can save this big piece of paper. And then they're all 1 1/4 inches. So 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and 1 1/4. You should have 3 of those all together. Okay, that's first side of our cutting guide. We did that pretty fast. I mean, 30 minutes in and you've cut 5 sheets of paper. Wow, after lunch when we're starting to hit our slump, right? Is everybody doing okay? Yeah, I'll message Deb. That's a good idea, Hillary. Yeah, we've had a lot of, yeah, there has been a lot of changes, and we're yeah, it'll be interesting to navigate. And you know, my kids are older, so it's nothing like when they were little, but it's also going to be a challenge because that's like the week after the time change, and then we're going backwards, you know, to Eastern time. So we're going to be very tired, but yet it seems like we need to do the rope drop. So that's kind of what we're going back and forth on, like how much sleep can we sacrifice? Okay, I am going to turn this over. I'm hoping everybody's doing okay and with me, we're not going too fast. The next paper that we're going to need is this really happy floral. And then it's this red and white dot on the back, okay? And this is mostly what we're using. All right, so I'm gonna take the product strip off. And then I think I would rather do the red side first. The way I drew this is kind of backwards. So we're gonna do the red side first. We're gonna take that long strip off, and then it will be easier to get into the paper and do the rest. So we need 1 5/8 by 11. And that's from our red side, okay? So 1 5/8, that's in between your half, 4/8 and 6/8, right? In between your half and 3/4. Oh, I just did 5/8. Well, luckily we've got enough paper left over. Okay, so 1 5/8, not 5/8. 1 5/8 by 11. My 5th grader, all we're doing right now is fractions. And I say we because, sorry, this is A. I say we because she's great at math. She does great with her math facts and all that, but she has dyslexia. So word problems are just a nightmare for her. I mean, it's really, yeah, frustrating. And with the math that we have, it's called Envision. Almost everything, they want you to write a story or draw a picture or a bar diagram when she can just do the answer. So I feel like we've been stuck in fractions in the evenings for I don't even know how long. I mean, there have been a couple times in the last month where I just send back to the teacher, I literally can't. So we're getting there. She just finished another unit, so I'm hoping we're moving on from the fractions, but probably not. Okay, so our next one is going to be 4 1/2 by 6 inches. So I've got my paper here at the 6-inch mark. I'm gonna cut it, and then I'm going to turn it to the 4 1/2. Okay, that is the red side, the bigger one. That is also for A. And then I am going to flip it, and we need a 4 by 6 of the floral side. And that is for layout B. Oh, that's our first piece for B. Wow. Okay, and then back to the red side, we need these smaller pieces. Can we use this? Oh yeah, we can, right? 3 and 3 1/2, we can. Okay, so this extra piece, if you cut it like I did, if not, you've got an extra piece here, but we need them to be, the biggest one will be 3 1/2 inches, and then the other ones will be 3 inches. So let's do 1 1/4, and then this one is by 3 1/2. You need one of those, 1 1/4 by 3 1/2. The other two, you need 1 1/4 by 3. Get that out of the way. And then same thing, 1 1/4 by 3. In case you haven't noticed, every strip across that bonus layout, the width is the same, 1 1/4. Okay, so we've got all 3 of those pieces, and those go to layout C. All right, our next paper is more smileys. I've got the yellow smiley face side. I do love this blue floral, but we're gonna use the yellows. It goes well with our bonus layout. So for this, it's 11 inches what we need. So I'm gonna do, here, I'm just gonna take this off just so it doesn't mess up our measurements. Sometimes it's nice just to not have it in the way there. So it really doesn't matter direction wise because the smiley faces are all kind of going cattywampus, right? They're all going different ways. So as long as you end up with 11 by 5 and 11 by 5, I don't think it matters which way that you turn it. So I'm gonna do this at 11 inches. And then we will go 5 inches and 5 inches again. And both of these are for layout C. Okay, our next paper is the Red Daisy. And again, for this one, we're using the green side. Okay, so I use the green for our N in Friends, and then it's also used in that bonus layout, the bonus layout across the top. Oh, the heat kicked on. It must be colder than I thought. Okay, so we're just using this side, not the red. Okay, so if my first piece is going to be 1 3/4, 1 3/4 by 11. Okay, then our next section is the strips. I have mine doing the vertical dashes. It's up to you. I just kind of liked the effect where it's pulling down, almost like water dripping down. So for this, I'm going to measure 4 inches and then turn it, and they're going to be all 1 1/4. So 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and 1 1/4. All right, so the long one is for layout A, the cut file, and then the strips are for layout C. All right, for our next one, it's the 4x4 squares paper. And you will need a circle punch for this one. So what it ends up being, I think I put it on here, right? Like 3 of each, yeah, 3 of each color. The only thing that I would kind of caution you about is there are like 3 different shades of the green color. I used the one that's like the middle of the 3. So you've got the lightest, the darkest, and then there's kind of this one. That's what I felt matched. You don't have to make it look like mine, okay? I liked having mine monochromatic and going across this way, kind of in the Roy G. Biv. If you want to mix it up, that's fine. But what you need then is 3 of each color that you choose, okay? So you're going to need your circle punch, which is 1.25, 1 1/4. All right, so I'm just gonna start, just kind of center it, and pop popped right out of there. I don't know if I like that one because it took a little bit of a cut out of it. Are there any others? Okay, so far I have a green and a dark pink. I did not use the light pink either. And then I'm going to use my scissors and cut in a little bit so that way I can get to some of these to punch around it. Okay, so we've got our red circle. We've got our light blue. The yellow, I did the darker yellow. Just kind of turning it here and seeing what I can punch before I have to cut it all. Okay, so I have my three, but they're actually the lighter ones, which is what I just said. Yeah, okay. Well, there'll be extras, that's okay. So let's get this guy. Okay, this is the green that I want. Here we go. 1, 2, and then I can do this red. So I'm really just going back and forth, no real order, just trying to get these punched out. And you could punch all of them and, you know, use them because we're going to have a lot of extra products, so you can use them on other layouts with this collection. Okay, I have all my pinks. Not all the red yet. Okay, so I got the red done. Okay, so I have 3 greens, some yellow, I don't know if that's going to be off-centered. I'll do this one right over here. So it doesn't have a little notch taken out of it. You could have done probably the 1-inch punch. I just liked having the white border around these because Echo Park stickers always have the white border, and so I wanted it to look like it was part of the embellishment pack. Let's see, we need a blue, yellow, enough red. I have enough pink, so I need this orange and blue in here. And then I think I just need 1 more yellow, and then I've got all the pieces. And then those will be punched and ready for that bonus layout. which will go together really quickly because you'll have all the pieces ready to go. Okay. Didn't cut it quite enough. All right, last one, I need a yellow. Okay, so that should be 3 of each color. I have all of those together, and I am going to set those aside for layout C, and I'm going to clean up my mess here. Okay, how are we doing? Did everybody get those punched? All right, we have 2 more sheets of the Echo Park paper to cut, and then just the 2 sheets of Chamel, and we're ready to start sticking things to things, right? Okay, so our next one is this Smileys again, shocking, but with the really nice kind of muted blue background, and that's the side that we're going to be using, is the blue. All right, so I'm gonna take my product strip off. And this strip that we need is 1.5 inches. So we'll do 1.5 inches and then turn it, and it's 1.5 inches by 11. Okay, and that is for layout A. Then for our smaller pieces, the biggest one, the longest one is 3.5 inches. So I'm turning my paper, cutting it at 3.5, got this giant piece left. So this first one will be 1.25 inches by 3.5, okay? After that, there'll be 1.25 inches by 3. And you need 2 of those. So 1 1/4 by 3 inches. Okay, and that should be all for our light blue paper. All right, so I'm going to set those with layout C. Last paper we need is the 4x6 cards. And what do you know? It's a grid. It's a graph paper. This really pretty peach color, which is kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of weird thrown in there, but it's in here with the florals. It's kind of this pink peach, and it works really well. We're going to use it on layout 2, mixing it with the Chamel. And it's just a really nice soft background that we can put all of our busy stuff on top of. Okay, for this one, I'm going to take the product strip off. There's no right or wrong way to cut it because it's the same in every direction. All right, so we need it to be 10.5 inches. So we're going to go over 10.5. Cut this. Then we're going to turn this, and it needs to be 6 inches. So we've got 10.5 by 6 and 10.5 by 6. And those will be our 2 backgrounds across for B. Okay, then this last strip is for layout A, and it measures 1 3/8 by 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down to the 10. Okay, and then we need the 1 3/8. So that's right in between your 1/4 and 1/2. I know this is a tougher cut because we're doing it on just like a sliver. You're just taking the tiniest bit off the side. And this is for layout A. This is for our friends cut file. Okay, that is the end of page 1, front and back. Everything cut and ready to go. We only have 2 papers left. Okay, for our rainbows, we are using the rainbow side. I went back and forth because I love the orange also, but I just felt like the rainbows, it just worked well with the stripe. And then since we already had this peach color as our background. Okay, so take this product strip off the top. And then we want these to be 2 inches. 2 inches here and 2 inches here. And now I'm going to turn them and trim them down to 10 1/2. So we have 10 1/2 by 2 and 10 1/2 by 2. And those are for layout B. Okay, final trimmer cut aside from your photo mats if you decide to cut those today. Last paper, we're not using the adorable sleepover pillow side, we are using the stripe side. Okay, product strip is off. We want to make sure that our stripes go in the right direction. So this time it is important which way that you cut it. We want our stripes to be, vertical all the way across. All right, so for these first 2 pieces, they are 2 inches wide. So we've got 2 by 12 and 2 by 12. All right, and then the last piece we need to cut is 4 1/2 by 6. We've got 4 1/2 by 6 inches. Okay, and those are both for layout, all 3 for layout B. All right, so we have been cutting for almost an hour. I'm hoping everyone is staying with me. I would like to, clean up your space if you need to. Your trimmer, you're not going to need for the moment unless you want to cut the photo mats. But the next thing I would like to do is start backing the cut files. So that way we know that we have that done so that we can assemble the first layout. So you will need the Bella package. You will need your fussy cut scissors, and then you're going to need a good liquid adhesive to be able to adhere this. I have art glitter for today. You could use Nuvo, Barely Arts. There's a lot of different options. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take out our words that we need. Okay, so we're going to use this Friends Forever. And then the other pieces we will use on layout B. But I'm going to just put those back for right now. With the Bella cutouts, you get the paper instructions that look like this, okay? We are going to use basically the top section of this paper. So I'm going to pull this off. And what I tend to do is roughly cut these out, like kind of a big circle around it, and then layer it on my paper that I'm going to use and cut it from there. It'll make a little more sense once we get our paper strips laid out. Okay, so first thing, if you're doing it just like mine, we're going to cut this word forever off the bottom. So I'm just going to use my fussy cutting scissors and just, yeah, trim it as close as I can. And no one will ever know that that was connected. And I'll show you for the R, I did cut so that there's the gap between, you know, the back and the leg. I think we would call it the kickstand when we were first doing the ABCs. And this one, I'll tidy that up in a minute. I'm going to do the same thing with the N. I will cut out that middle section. I'm just going to take this big part off the bottom first though, because it's kind of getting in my way. And then with the S, you'll have to round it just a little bit. Okay, this I'm just going to toss. I don't need it. I'm going to smooth out my E just a tiny bit. And open up the N. And then same thing with the S. I'm going to round the D slightly. And round the S. Okay, so then once you have that cut apart, you have the word friends. Whoops, gotta trim this off with the F. Okay, our next step is to find our strips that we need that are going to match up with this. So we're going to have our F, R, I, E, N, D, and S. Now, I know a lot of you went to She Loves Color because I saw a lot of you there and got to hug you or meet you face to face. We did something similar with Stephanie's class. I think it was the word captured, but she just used a striped paper so you didn't have all of these strips. Yeah, I think I made a boo-boo. I think we cut that one a little too short on the peach graph. I think we cut that one. I think I had it wrong on the cutting guide now that I'm looking, because look, my strips line up, but guess what? They don't line up there. Let me see, so I can fix it for later. Yeah, I think it should have been 11, not 10. Okay. Let me think about that for a minute. What I'm wondering is if I can match it back up. And you wouldn't be able to tell at the top. So basically I had the cutting guide wrong. We cut this one 10 inches and it should have been 11. So it's a little bit off up here. So that's what I'm wondering, if I can piece it at the end. The other option would be take it all up 1 inch. The other option would be, we have a lot of extra paper we didn't use, pick something from there to do that extra strip. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. It will be fixed now for anybody who's not doing it live with us, but that is cut wrong. Okay, so we are going to lay our word friends on our paper here, and I'm actually going to glue it all together, like line it up carefully, glue it together, and then trim around it. So what I was telling you about the paper, that's for layout B. We don't need this right now because we're going to do it this way. Because we're only cutting around the outer edge. All right, so I'm just gonna go one color at a time, glue it on, because I want them to be snug with each other, and I want it to be the seam hitting at the right place, okay? Okay, so I have my art glitter glue. I want to see if, yep, it's ready to go. Okay, so I'm just going to do some little dots of glue, probably hard to see on the camera because they are such small dots. And I'm going to line it up on the S. Just like that. Okay, and then you're going to see as we go along, it's going to be more cumbersome to flip it back and forth, but that's what we're going to keep doing. So that we can get them all lined up. Okay, so I'm going to flip it here. The D would also be a really good spot for a photo if you wanted to put one there. It's a nice big open letter. Okay, so the big thing with this part is to make sure that we have a very tight seam. And then I will wipe the glue away when I'm all done. Okay, so I have my letter D. All right, next I'm going to do letter N, same thing, very carefully. I'm gonna flip it. Make sure it stays lined up. I do not have any liquid adhesive in the basic sale other than, oh, the blue pen, like the glue pen, because at this time of year, they won't ship. They won't ship Nuvo, they won't ship art glitter. I mean, Amazon might, but a distributor won't ship it to me because of the risk of it freezing and expanding, and it just messes with the quality of the product. So I have to order it throughout the year before October. And then when I had the Paige Evans event in November, I sold out of everything. So now I have to wait until it's warm in spring before they will ship me more adhesive. Okay, so right now I have my NDS. Next I'm going to add the E. It's just amazing how much having the tip on the glue helps. The other thing that's amazing, and we had these at the Paige event also, was the precision press, the glue for the Nuvo glue. Oh, it's incredible. Especially when you have a really intricate cut file. This one isn't bad at all, but some of them can be really, really tough. We did a haunted house that was just so many little pieces. Okay, the eye is tricky because it's like it wants to overhang just a little bit. Okay, you don't have to keep flipping yours back and forth. I'm just doing it so that you can see what it looks like as I'm going both directions. All right, next we're going to do that teeny tiny sliver, which is the letter I. Got very quiet all of a sudden. I'm not sure what my family is up to. Gail is helping. She's working on shopping orders and then sorting some product. Natalie had to go to her job. We were so grateful that she could help us yesterday. Okay, so that is IENDS. All right, let's do the R. Okay, if anybody could let me know that you are awake, alive. I haven't been able to see comments. I don't see any comments since Amy commented about 20 minutes ago. Okay, so I'm going to add the red for my letter R. Oh, good. Oh, as I'm here. Okay, good, 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 good. Sorry, I knocked my punch on the ground. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. Okay. Quiet is good if it means we're working, right? It's just not good if you're falling asleep because I'm boring you to death, or you're frustrated and have turned me off altogether. Okay. All right, so my last strip here is the letter F that I cut too short. I'm just adding the dots of glue here. Okay. I wonder. Yeah, I'm wondering if I could hide it better down below. Let's see what mine looks like. If I can hide it this way. Okay. Okay, so yours should be coming together like this. I was trying to test it on mine before I tell all of you if I could line it up this way and you wouldn't be able to tell that I had a cutting boo-boo. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Is slip it right under there, that extra. So you should have that extra piece that we trimmed off too much of, and I'm gonna just glue it here and line up all the grids and let it overhang. And then once this is dry in a few minutes, we're going to start trimming around this, and I don't think you'll be able to tell. And you could always hide it with a stick or two. Again, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to be a little sneaky about it, put my glue on this side, and then kind of sneak it under to make sure it lines up. All right, make sure that, well, we want this to dry, but make sure it's not stuck to your work surface while it's drying. We're going to actually start putting the layout together, and then when we get to this piece, we will finish the trimming around it, because by then the liquid adhesive will have dried a little bit, and you don't want all that on your scissors. Okay, so we are going to need the wood grain paper as our background, and then everything else is in our pile A, other than our embellishments. So I'm just gonna slide this to the side for a minute. Oh, good, Bonnie's here too. Good, Evelyn, thank you. Yeah, it's just, it's happy and colorful, and I feel like I wanted my layouts to be more for everyday life, everyday photos. So I feel like this could be used for a lot of different things. Okay, we need wood grain. All right, I have everything stacked on my project cart, on my We Are Memory Keepers project cart. So I just have to shift it from class to class, but it's helped me stay organized. I highly, highly recommend if you don't own one. It's just nice to be able to keep projects separated. I actually, again, I run a business, but I have, in this room right now, I have 4 of them, I think. But it's nice because as we are designing kits, then we can keep them each on a tray and move pieces around, and you know, because there's a lot that goes into photographing samples and writing the instructions, and things can just get lost very, very easily. Okay, so we are going to start with the left-hand side of our layout. Sorry, you do need your trimmer if you want to take that product strip off, because we didn't cut that off earlier. And then for our photo sizes, I'm going to write those on here, and my Sharpie disappeared. And then if you want to use the white as photo mats, great. If you want to wait and figure out your own photo placement, that's fine too. And we'll just kind of talk through where to find the different pieces. Oh, here's one. This will work. Okay, so our friends, this is a 4x4, this is a 6x4, a 3x4, and a 3x4. And like I was saying yesterday, for these photos like this, I would make this in the Project Life app and that way you get 2 photos on a 4x6 and be able to print it out. It's the best way to do it, whether you're printing at home or Walgreens or sending it out somewhere. So that's a question. Where do you get your photos printed? I would like to know. Has anyone tried Amazon for photos? I've not done that. My go-to used to be Costco. I loved their printing. I even have photographer friends who in a pinch would go there because they always had their machines calibrated the right way. Now I print a lot on demand, and I also do the Persnickety box. It's a subscription box, and it's the 4x4 pictures, so you get a box a month, and I love doing that. I have the Epson also. I love it. And it's made me more mindful too of what I print. And then, yeah, Persnickety, they just do a great job. I still do a lot through Shutterfly, but I feel like their quality has gone down over the years with photo printing. Maybe that's just me being picky, but it just hasn't been as good lately. Okay, I'm an inker. I've told you that before. I'm going to use Coal Miner Quick Quotes ink, and I'm going to start with my big background piece here. And then these 2 accent mats for your photo. This is a very easy way to use a small paper pad or use a busy pattern and just use a tiny bit of it so you don't feel overwhelmed on your page. We're kind of balancing it with the very simple wood grain and the very simple muted white smileys, and then you still get this pop of color by sneaking these behind a photo. It's a trick I use a lot on my page kits. Yesterday I kind of went into a little bit of my background. I do have an Etsy shop. I am known for 2-page layouts and also card kits. And everything is similar to Tracy with Artsy Albums. Everything is pre-cut, ready to go. I do also have some product on my Etsy page, and I've done a pop-up shop at several different events, which I'm grateful for. And tomorrow, hopefully, we will start a thread on Facebook in our group because we all have a lot of events coming up. And so just to have you be in the know, Andrea shared about hers. Tracy, has the Hive open right now. Tracy and I are doing a 1-day virtual event on National Scrapbook Day called You Are My Sunshine. Instead of a 3-day event like this one, it's just 1 day, and we're focusing on a summer album and a summer layout class. We have not picked the product yet because nobody's come out with summer except Echo Park. But we still have spots available, and that's coming up. I know Erica has many events, and I know she has a National Scrapbook Day event. And then Andrea was sharing about Scrap and Learn. I'm also going to be in Omaha, Nebraska with Paige, Evans, and Andrea at the scrapbook store there, the Scrapbook Haven. I was lucky enough to get to go there last summer. For the 4th of July, we almost always are in South Dakota. My in-laws live in Sioux Falls. And we decided to kind of expand our summer travels because my husband was up for sabbatical. And we needed to start doing some college visits. So we went to Omaha so that my daughter could look at Creighton and also University of Nebraska. And then I got to go to the scrapbook store, and it was incredible. It's so nice to be able to go to a store in person, touch the paper, just nothing compares. It is wonderful. So yeah, I was fortunate enough, and then afterwards reached out to Andrea and I said, we've got to do an event here. We've got to. Got Paige on board, and we are doing a spring fling in person in Omaha in 1 month, actually. It was 1 month from yesterday. So, and we are sold out for now, but Paige has many other events coming up, and she and Andrea will be doing one in August here in Colorado, and I hope to be a shop at that too. Okay, where did I put my adhesive? My table's actually clean, so I must have moved it. Usually I just lose my ruler, not my adhesive. So hold tight for just a second. Let me grab another runner and then we'll start adhering this page. That book, and then I don't know what I did with it. Oh, Hillary, I don't know what that sounds really cool. Sublimation personal printer. Okay, and Shannon, you've got the HP. I love that subscription with the ink. We did that during COVID because we were doing so much at home learning. And a Canon selfie, yes. I love the Canon selfie. Okay, all good options. All right, didn't find the adhesive I was looking for, but you know, I don't know how many laying around here, so we're gonna go with it. All right, so I am going to adhere my large background piece onto the wood grain paper. All right. Next is our border piece, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but to me it looks like about between 1/4 and 1/2 inch gap there from the bottom of that white paper. Okay, from there, this is where photo placement comes in. I did cut a piece mostly because I want to know where to put this grouping, and so that I know I still have room for my photos. So for this, I'm going to layer my sun and my polka dots here, just kind of eyeball it, and then glue the whole thing down. And I'm centering it, yeah, pretty much from top to bottom. Okay, and it does overhang on the edge here. You won't even see this corner because it's going to be hidden. Okay, so then we've got our 4x6 photo. I'm gonna put this down for now for placement. Okay, and then you're going to want to leave a bit of a gap here to be able to fill in those embellishments. And then we've got 2 of our 3x4 cards. I just feel like it also helps, it gives the eye a little bit of a break instead of the photos all being in one straight line across the page. Later, when you have your photo, I added a piece of the border strip across this photo here. Whoa. Okay, and then I'm gonna add my 4x4. similar to if this was mimicking like a Polaroid. And then I have room at the bottom for the word and the plant. Okay, so all of these pieces that we're going to be adding are from the Chamel pack. Okay, so I have a tray here, and similar to what Tracy said yesterday, I usually sort first, just to kind of get a feel for what's in the package. I already know because I've designed these, but it just usually helps me. For this, I'm going to kind of divide them out in my tray. All of these bigger pieces I'm going to keep together. The words I'll probably end up grouping together. And these other ones that are super thin are the washi stickers. So, you know, kind of grouping like things, like sizes together so that they're easier to locate. And while I'm sorting, I am looking for friends, a plant, a flower, a camera, and a balloon. Okay, so I put all my flowers together here. Pull this back. Oh, I found a plant. Yay. All right, so these are all the really big papers, which we're going to use some as accents, and then we're also going to use some to back our other cut file. And that we will do the traditional way with the Bella instructions. Okay, so all these bigger thin papers, I'm gonna put up here, the smallish ones on here. And there should be 2 of everything. So if you accidentally tear one, if you lose one on the floor or on your desk, there should be a backup. And like I said, you can glue 2 together to make it sturdy. All right, so I've got all my words here. There's so many great pieces in this box. You get so much stuff. So we won't even use a fraction of it. And so you'll have plenty to keep going. And I feel like with the color palette, you can use it for a lot of different things. I read recently that, so this is from Chamel, and I read recently that someone thought everything she did was Disney-ish. And I'm like, I don't think this is really Disney-ish at all. I mean, I guess it could be, but to me, it's just a cute color palette. All right, keep sorting these words. All right, so I got all the big pieces sorted. All right, I found a camera. So far I've got our camera, friends, and plant. Flowers. More flowers. Enough is enough. Okay, we've got a couple backpacks. I don't think we use those at all. Oh, here's a balloon. We're going to use this yellow balloon. So I think then the only piece I'm missing, and maybe, oh, I know what I did. This flower, this is the flower peeking out from here, and it's actually attached to the banner. And I just hid the banner. Okay, so if you're looking for that one, that's what it is. I'm going to keep sorting my pieces just so I can locate the next ones. Finish that, and then we'll stick these down. If you've ever done any classes with Lael Concar, this is one of the trays that she recommends, just because it's from the Container Store, but it's just a nice divided container, and I liked the one that Tracy had yesterday too, which you can find those at the Dollar Tree, just to sort everything out. Okay, another camera, some words, stars, balloons, and a plant without flowers. Okay, so I have all of my pieces sorted, so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to find the next ones. Hopefully you're able to dig through. And then you should, in your original class pack, you should have some enamel dots. And that was the last piece that I added right here. Okay, so for these, I popped them up. I did not peel these ones off their backing. I left it on their backing, and then I added the adhesive to the back. I don't know if that's the right choice or not. I'm going to be completely honest. American Crafts adhesive is not the best, so I always just add extra glue to err on the side of caution. I just don't know. But for now, I felt like they were sturdier being left on the backing. Okay, so I popped both of these up with foam squares, and I'm going to tuck that balloon string under the photo. Okay, and then my plant is flat on the page, and I've just got it tucked a little bit under the photo mat. I can't tell, is this one a sticker? That's the hard part with this. Is it a sticker? Isn't it a sticker? I don't know, it's not peeling. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, so I think on my original, I left it on the backing. Yeah, because it's very thin. It's a washi sticker. So this would be one of those that I was talking about yesterday that I would recommend a glue stick to reinforce. Because what happens is it ends up kind of peeling up because it's washi. So I have a handy dandy glue stick here, and let's see if I can just reinforce just a tiny bit. And then I'm gonna do a little bit more up here at the top. And this, it dries clear, so it will be fine. I just know from the ones I did on the Vicky Bouton pack, it all started to peel up, curl up. Okay, so then for my word friends, I did pop this up. I would recommend don't skimp on the adhesive on this because it is such a thin paper. You'll start to have those valleys, which you don't want to see when you've worked so hard on a page. You want it to all look popped up and not like it's sinking. Okay, so I'm going to add that right below. Okay, and then all that's left is our flower that I'm going to tuck. I mean, you could even leave the blue out a little bit. I just hid it completely when I was adhering things. If your photo mat, if you've stuck a photo mat down and you don't feel that you can slip this underneath, then just cut it off. And then you should be able to get it kind of under the edge just like that. And no one will ever know. Okay, let me see if I can locate my enamel dots in my package here. I don't see them. They're probably buried here on my desk. But you're going to put your, I use the reddish color enamel dots, and I typically do them in clusters of 3, just because the odd number is pleasing to the eye and it's more of a triangular shape. So for this I use small, medium, large, and I put it right underneath the friends just as a little bling accent piece. Okay, now we are ready to finish the other side. Is everybody doing okay? I'm gonna pull my other piece of cardstock. Hopefully your big cut file piece is drying so that we can trim around it. I'm gonna take this one away for now. Okay, and then our photo on this side is a 6x4. Okay, so to get our cut file ready to glue down, I'm going to use my fussy cutting scissors, and I'm just going to trim around. I did not go up in between the R and in between the S. That didn't bother me. I was thinking of this more as like a drip down paint effect or water drip down. So I just did these outer edges, and I did go up into the S right here. Okay, so go ahead and just take your scissors and start trimming. Okay, so what is your go-to comfort show when you are crafting, or just in general, your comfort show? I will share mine is Gilmore Girls. I feel like I could watch Gilmore Girls. I have watched Gilmore Girls beginning to end over and over and over again. Not as big of a fan of the Netflix Year in the Life, but I did watch it. I have watched it a couple times. But yeah, that's my show that I have on in the background, and I kind of know it by heart, so I can work to it, and I enjoy it. Hallmark. So I am a big fan of the Hallmark at Christmas time, because I do a lot of Christmas kits, and we start ordering Christmas paper in June or July. So yeah, once the Hallmark movies start, I record as many as I can on our DVR, and yeah, go back and stream those. I did not invest in the Hallmark channel this Christmas, but I did watch quite a few. Haven't watched it any other time of the year though, just at Christmas. So maybe I'm missing out. Maybe they have great stuff the rest of the year too, and I just don't realize it. Yeah, Hillary, I really don't watch either. I'm more listening. I cannot do a podcast while I'm working crafting because I'll tune it out. But for some reason with the TV shows, I can do that. Okay, Law and Order, Deborah. I usually watch SVU. I also like the Chicago shows, if I can catch those. Sometimes a little 911, we'll watch that too. Okay, so these are mostly in the evening. And my kids are older now, so they don't go to bed till much later. I maybe get 1 hour to watch TV at night. I told you Wheel of Fortune is my walking show. The other show that I started watching, and I'll see if anyone else, oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it. It's new on Fox, and it's this lady who got in a car accident, and she can't remember the last 7 or 8 years of her life, but yet she's a great doctor, and they're still letting her practice medicine. Does anybody watch that? It's only been 3 or 4 episodes. It hasn't been on very long. Ah, thank you, Doc. Yes. Okay, so I'm behind on that one, but I'm torn because I really like it, but yet it, with the brain injury she had, it's so unbelievable that, she's up and they're letting her do all this, but anyway, that's beside the point, right? You're not supposed to think about the real rules about things. But yeah, I've started watching that one. I do enjoy some of the true crime. I agree. This week I'm behind again because we were at Children's. Scamanda is this one that was a podcast. So it's Scam Amanda together, Scamanda. And it's been on Hulu. But I've only seen the first episode, and it was about how she faked her illness and they got all this money and all that. So that I like. I'm invested in finishing that one. I also really liked the Martha Stewart documentary. I don't know if anybody saw that, and I can't remember if that's Netflix, but it was really good. Okay, I have not watched Watson. I'll have to check that one out. Yeah, Chicago PD is my favorite. I love it. And I think too is because it kind of helps me when I'm homesick and when I'm missing the Midwest and Illinois, watch my Chicago shows. Yeah, and then my husband and I will usually have a show that we're trying to watch together on evenings that we can actually sit down together. Right now, we love college basketball, so Illinois will be playing shortly because he's wanting to use the Wi-Fi to stream the game. So we met at the University of Illinois. We love Illinois basketball. So March Madness is fun. We all fill out the brackets, and yeah, we just have a blast watching that. So a lot of times if we're gonna watch something together in the evening, right now this time of year, it is basketball. But we started the newest season of Lincoln Lawyer. And I don't remember what that's streaming on, but we're not very far into it yet, but we've enjoyed the other seasons of it. So I'm sure that this one will be the same. We just haven't had time to really sit down and watch it together. He's been very busy with work, and I've been busy with all the other life things, and yeah, it'll slow down again at some point. Okay, so hopefully you have your cut file trimmed around the edge here. And so you've got basically your title done and this awesome background. And what I'm doing is just inking the edge of this last strip because this will connect across, and it shows me where the cut file should start. Oh, Sweet Magnolias, didn't they just come out with a new season? I feel like that so I gifted my mom for Christmas. Actually, I gifted my dad a Netflix gift card because I knew it was coming back. So I had never watched Sweet Magnolias. And then we were on vacation in Hilton Head, South Carolina. We go every year, our whole family. Sometimes there's 9 of us, sometimes there's 15 of us. Anyway, a couple years ago, I got COVID. So I spent the entire vacation in a bedroom, quarantined. I was very sick. I had a pretty moderate case, what they would call it now. And I binged all of Sweet Magnolias that week while my family was at the beach and doing everything else. So I got hooked on it. And then, yeah, I had seen that the new season was coming. And so for Christmas, I gifted my dad the Netflix gift card so that my mom would enjoy it too. So for the holidays, for the first time, inks are a tool. Yeah, you don't, unless you're, now I think inks are a tool because for me, that's Amy, good question. She was asking if the inks for the challenge, and I think that's fine. Use it as a tool. So for Christmas, we usually stay home. Like Lauren is 17. Since she was born, we had just kind of said to our families, no matter what, we want to be home on Christmas morning. And so when we lived in Illinois, we would go to Chicago and see my in-laws on Christmas Eve. We would see my parents either before or after Christmas and celebrate then. You know, it really doesn't matter the number on the calendar. We just want to see each other. Well, the past year or two, actually the past 3 years, my parents have come and stayed with us for part of December, And then they'll be here for Christmas morning, which is amazing. And then my sister and my nephew usually come the day after Christmas, and they stay till New Year's. So we decided this year that since my kids are older, we would do, instead of all the gift buying being on me, we would do stockings, like a Secret Santa. And so my daughter found an app, I think it was called Elfster, and you made a little wish list, we set a budget, and yeah, we did our little Secret Santa, and it was a big hit. It was a lot of fun, and it took so much pressure off me, and I really needed that this year. And so yeah, I had my dad's name, which was also fun to be able to spoil him with, he loves, well, similar to the way we love a new gadget, you know, he loves stuff for his 3D printer, for, you know, his tools, all, yeah. So it was fun to spoil him and have his name. My daughter, Noelle, my youngest, had my name, so that was also fun. And somehow I missed putting adhesive on the skinny piece. Okay, so as I've talked, I have adhered our title right there. Oh, I read the Chicken Sisters book. I'm guessing the series is based off the book. I'll have to look at that. I read that one summer not too long ago. It was a really good book. Huh, I didn't know that that was, I'll have to check it out too. Thank you for the suggestion. And then I heard that they're gonna do a Little House on the Prairie reboot, which could be interesting. I remember watching that as a kid. Okay, I am going to slide this over so that we can put our remaining pieces on. We're doing good on time. Okay, so behind this large photo, I used one of these big pieces from the pack. This would be one that is very thin. So be careful when you adhere it or double it up. Okay, so it looks like this. We're going to need a large flower cluster, and then a balloon and the word good. The others, these are from the Echo Park sticker sheet, and then these are the Echo Park dots. Okay. I have balloons. So it's the red balloon, and seeing what color, there it is. Okay, and then the word good. You can attempt to ink this. I don't think I did. I can't really even tell. It's very thin. So I would just, like I said, be careful when you are adhering it. And I want to get a photo mat cut really quick just so you can see on mine the placement. Okay, so for this nice journaling paper, I kind of started it on the pink peach piece, and then it extends over to the green. Then I'm gonna have my photo mat here. I left the backing on again on this one, and I'm going to pop up the outer part with foam squares. And then I'm just gonna do flat adhesive on the inner part. So that way it's gonna go flat under my photo, but then have a little bit of pop once it's down on the page. Okay, and then after we adhere our photo mat, we need the Echo Park sticker sheet to be able to finish our last embellishments around the photo. Okay, so for this one, I kind of eyeballed it because I didn't want to cut a face in half, if that makes sense. I don't like doing that. The florals I wouldn't mind as much, but for the face, I wanted it to start with a full face and end with a full face. So I took the sticker and I ran it along the bottom. I'm gonna go over just a tiny bit. So it does overhang slightly. And then, here they are, my scissors. Okay, so then you have that little accent underneath, and then the rest of this piece, you use part of it on the other side for the photo mat. Okay, and then this sticker right here in the middle, be the reason someone smiles today. I wanted to use that as kind of a file tab. And I hid the word today. So it just says, be the reason someone smiles. All right, now we're gonna shift back over to our ephemera. Remember, this one's really thin. Use more dots than you think because you don't want it to be sinking. So for my Midwestern friends, and actually even Arizona, tonight for dinner we're having Portillo's. we do Taste of Chicago when we get our favorite food shipped here, maybe twice a year. Sometimes people send it to us as a gift just because we miss it so much. So we had gotten a shipment of Lou Malnati's pizzas and then Portillo's beef. So we've got that in the crock pot. We're going to have that tonight for dinner. Watch Erica's class, and then play some bingo. Okay, so I added the word good. So we have our title, Good Friends. The balloon I did leave on the backing, and I'm just gonna pop up the top, and the string just is free hanging. Okay, and then for the middle of the R, and then down here on the E, these are both stickers. So we have this one right here that says happy. I'm gonna pop it up with a foam square. And then the other one is right next to that tab that we pulled, and that one, I think I need a smaller square, and I'm also going to pop it up, and that'll be the middle of the R. And because I made a mistake, I want to hide my seam here. I need to think, nothing really, because I like it being the tone on tone, and nothing is really that color, so I need to go through my Chamel package and see if there's a flower or something. I'm probably going to put something right there, so then you don't notice that seam where I made the boo-boo. And then your enamel dots, hopefully you can find them. Mine are here somewhere. Your enamel dots, you put the yellow in a cluster, and then that pink in a cluster right here. And then you have done your first complete layout. Oh, I didn't know there was one in Frisco. So my brother-in-law lives in Frisco. I'll have to ask him if he knows that. Oh, that's a good question, Deborah. Trimmer. I feel like people are very selective in their trimmer. And I know before I have showed up to an event and that's the one thing I have forgotten. And people will offer to lend it to me. And I'm very picky about if I will say yes. It sounds terrible. So I use my Fiskars 99% of the time, like for personal. I have a Carl that's a rotary that I use because I can cut 6 to 12 sheets at a time when I'm doing kits. And I also have a Creative Memories small guillotine one that I really like because it's portable and it's great for photos. And I also have a Creative Memories one that does the edges, right? Like the, I don't know what you call it, the waves. So I have a lot of trimmers, but yeah, I'm very particular about what I like and don't like. And I think it's just the more you use it, the more comfortable you get. But I help with Vacation Bible School. I ran the crafts last year for 850 kids. And we had some sort of crisis. We ran out of something. Some paper didn't get done right. And I said, get me a trimmer. And the trimmer they brought me, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it came from the dollar store. It was I'm like, I can't work like this. I can't use this. So I bought them. I replaced the stuff in the childhood department that week. I got them Fiskars, scissors, and a trimmer, and not because it was horrible. It was just terrible. I don't know how they could use it. Yeah, that's interesting. So the guillotine one, was it, Deborah, is it the smaller one or is it the large one? So I have the Tim Holtz one that's the, it's a rotary. And then the other one that I've seen a lot of people have, I saw this in November also, is the, with the light, the Caterpillar, that one. And I, Lissa and Cheryl that sat behind me, I used theirs. I was borrowing theirs for a little bit because I had to lend mine out. And it was nice to use because it has like that laser light to help you line it up, but it's big to transport. And a lot of times for Sheila's color, I'm packing all my stuff in my suitcase. So that makes it really, well, you just have to be very conscious about what you're taking and how much weight you're adding. Okay, it's the smaller one. Yeah, okay. Roto trim. I'll have to look that one up, Tracy. I have Carl, and I talk to him because he and I work together many hours a day, and I like it, but I wish it could cut through more, especially when I was cutting through like the stacks and stacks of Vicky Bouton paper, and for this event, it's a lot on your arm, that's for sure. Okay. I think we are ready to move on to our second layout, layout B. Is everybody okay with shifting to that one? We're going to back the cut file first. So, oh, okay, I didn't know Caterpillar had, okay. Good to know. Oh. All right, I'm gonna pull this away. Great work. We're gonna do our second layout. Let me get reset here. Okay, so you will need to find the Bella the one that says Team Life and the hearts. So we're going to use the heart cluster. And then I think these are all the same size. Yes. Okay, so then we're going to use 2 regular hearts. So you'll have 2 extra that you can use another time. All right, you're going to need these paper squares. Let me find my original here so that I can show you what we're working on. Okay, so our title for this one is Enjoy Life. So we will need to back this word. Here are 2 of our hearts, and then let me find the other half of my layout. I start out so well. I start out clean surface, ready to go, and then it's like an explosion. So this cluster then, the 3 hearts together, is our striped paper. All right, so you need the papers that we labeled B as in boy. So we're going to need this one. It looks like it's about 4 by 6. We're going to need that right away. And then we are also going to need, nope, none of those. We need these squares to be able to do the heart and the letter E. And then these other pieces actually come from the papery pack. They are these big cards. And if you decide you want to change the colors, by all means. Okay, so our purple letter L, we're going to use this piece. For the letter F, we're going to use this peach colored paper. And then, where is that green? I'm going through all these. You would think it, oh, there it is. Okay, so it's a much smaller piece. We're going to use for the letter I. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into this roto trim. 2 people now said that. All right, so this is what I was starting to explain before and then realized we didn't need to know for the first layout. For this cut file, we are going to use the Bella paper that they give you, both papers. The first thing we need to do is trim off, I mean, I guess if you wanted it to say teen life, if you have teenagers, it can. I wanted it to just be more general for everyday photos, so it's going to say enjoy life on mine. So same thing that we did before, I'm going to use my handy dandy fussy cutting scissors, and I'm going to trim that word off the top. This one's actually easier. Okay, so I've got the F, and then I'm going to round it a little bit for the L. Okay, so I have the word life. Did I lose a heart? Yeah. Okay, for this next part, you can do one of 2 things. You can, this is riskier, you can lay the piece on it and trim around. You can flip it over, you can trace and trim around. That's why I said have your pencil and eraser, okay? Or you can use the Bella cutouts and go around with the letters. For this one, that doesn't work because they are assuming that you're going to use 3 different patterns of paper, and we are not. We are going to use this one piece because of the stripe. I thought the stripe was so pretty. So for this one, I am going to use my pencil. I'm going to trace it on the back. Let me shift this so you can see what it looks like. And you can kind of decide, you know, where you think you want it direction-wise. Like, do you like it your heart better like this? Do you like the stripe? You know, you can kind of play around with it, okay? So then what I'm gonna do is flip it to the back like this. If you need to use a piece of washi to hold it down while you trace, otherwise, get my pencil here. Oh, I should have grabbed my pencil from the box. So I'm gonna trace on the outer edge. You can also trace on the inner edge. It just matters when you start to cut. Sorry, I know it's hard to see with my hands in the way, but hopefully you're tracing and not trying to see mine. Okay, I have mine completely traced. Because I traced outside the heart, when I make my cuts, I want to go a little bit inside the line. Does that make sense? I traced out on the outer edge, so I don't want my hearts to, the pattern paper to be sticking out, so I'm going to trim just slightly inside where I've drawn the line. Okay, Amy, for the word life, we pulled those from the papery pack. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. For the L, it is this purple piece. For the I, it is this tiny green journal piece. For the F, it is the peach library card. And then for the E, we have the dark blue. Okay, so those will be the 4 pieces that we use for that. All right, so I'm gonna start cutting. Okay, so we talked about shows, we've talked about trimmers. How about movies? Any good movies that you've seen lately? I had shared before, you know, that our favorite has been Wicked. We bought it on New Year's Eve, and that's what we all watched together, because not everyone in my extended family had seen it. We saw Dog Man last weekend, because my daughter, my youngest, was begging to see it, because she's read the books. It was tolerable. She enjoyed it. And then we have tickets to go see the new, oh gosh, is it Captain America? I think it has Harrison Ford in it. That's all I've paid attention to. And we'll be going to see that. I think that's next weekend. Yeah, President's Day weekend, because the girls and Adam have the day off, and that's what we had booked tickets so that we could go see movies. But any other movies, streaming or in the theater, that are just amazing or that you would highly recommend? I almost need my readers for this. It's getting to the time of day where my eyes are tired and I need a little help. Magnification. We did not see Mufasa. I know Cherie had mentioned that she really liked that one, and that was on my list for the movie theater, and we didn't get to see it. I also didn't get to see Moana 2, which was a bummer, because Moana is one of my favorite movies, but my husband took my girls to see that at Thanksgiving, and so I was not there. I didn't get to see it. Okay, got the outline at least cut on it. Oh, okay, thank you, Captain America. I'm more in it for the popcorn, Tracy. I'll go along because Maddie, my middle, especially, like she and Adam, they love all the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy and Star Wars, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'll go for the popcorn. I don't. So if they're excited and want to go, I will go. Yeah, I think it starts Friday, maybe. And those movies usually do well. Okay, so I cut very quickly, but I am going to go ahead and glue my cut file down onto my heart cluster here. I feel like movie season this time of year, you would think Valentine's Day would be love stories, and it's usually more horror movies than anything else. So we really haven't seen that much. But I did see Wicked twice in the theater, so I guess that counts for something. Noelle, my youngest, she loves music, but she got a record player from her aunt like 2 Christmases ago, and we got her the Wicked soundtrack, and it is on repeat. She listens to it all the time. Okay, so I finished adhering the hearts onto this, and I'm just going to set it aside and move on to my other hearts so that I can get those done. Okay, for those, now I can show you the Bella way. Okay, on their papers, they have different sized hearts. That's because of the cluster that we did. The heart that we want is on this big page with that says friends. We want this heart in the bottom right corner. Okay, so we will need the blue and the pink. It's up to you if you prefer the dots or not. I just wanted to highlight that dark blue because it shows up on a few of the embellishments, and there was really nothing in the Echo Park collection that had that kind of dark pop of color. So this is Simple Stories color vibe piece, and it just matched the Chamel papers perfectly. Okay, so rather than tracing this time, I am going to use the Bella paper and just cut around this, okay? I just kind of loosely cut it off the page. Now at this point, you can either use your tiny attacher or a piece of washi to hold it on if you need to. I'm gonna try to just hold it with my hand here and cut around it. So there's my blue heart. Not perfect by any means, but it will get hidden with the outline of the heart. Yeah, see, I didn't, okay, Wicked 3D, I don't know if I've seen any movies in 3D in the last few years. That's interesting. We should try that. Sonic 3, we did not see. My youngest wanted to see that. But my nephew saw it, and he had said it was good when he was here for Christmas. Oh, that's so cool, Tracy. Okay, I'll tell Maddie about it, that your son is one of the background designers. That's awesome. This must be a very cool job. My girls have all dreamed or talked about doing the Disney college program, you know, so they could spend a semester there working. They think it'll be all fun and rides. I've heard that Disney's one of the hardest, you know, you work your butt off. It's one of the toughest places when they do the intern program, but if they want to try it, then by all means. Okay, 2 hearts, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue these on. We've gotten so spoiled with the movies that if the good theater, like with the luxury recliners and they bring your food to you and all that. If the seats are gone there, then everyone's like, nah, we don't want to go. We're so spoiled. Whereas I remember it as a kid, we didn't care. Like we went to the crummiest theater possible, and now it's like, no, I need a luxury recliner. I do. I enjoy it much more when I have my seat reserved, and having that little tray table on the seat is life-changing. Not having to juggle my popcorn, my kids' stuff, my phone, my purse, all of it. Well, that one I slid a little bit, but wipe it off. Okay, so I have all of the hearts done, and I am ready to move on to my title. How's everybody doing? Once we get the word life done, we'll be ready to put down the second layout. And still doing pretty good on time so that we can hopefully get to shopping at 4:30. All right, for the word life, this is the second sheet of the Bella instructions. I am just going to roughly cut around the letters. I'm going to do it all at once so I can set this paper aside. I do have a couple of the cutouts on my Etsy page, and then I do have 2 of the new ones in our sale later this afternoon. The one that goes with the Life 365, the Bella calendar set collection that they came out with this year, it is really cute. I just finished a layout with that cutout this past week, and it's very versatile. I think it said like happy day or sunny day. I don't even remember, but I played with it this week and I'm like, oh, I love this. So that will be listed later on. All right, if you had somehow salvaged your other letters, like the word teen, then you'll need this E more than once. I did not. I took all of mine off, so I will only use it the one time and be finished. It's funny, I stand to work. I'm standing now, and my watch still keeps saying I'm not standing. Even last night, usually my stand goal, I've stood for 12 hours a day. And last night it's like, nope, you haven't, you missed all these hours of standing. I'm like, what? I am standing right now, Apple Watch. What is the matter? But I think it's because I've had my hands here and not at my sides. All right, so for the L, this one, it's a nice big sheet of paper. It's more personal preference. If you care how the lines line up, you could go any way with it. I'm just going to tuck it down here more towards the corner, and then I'm going to trim around it. Again, super thin when you go to adhere it, but I didn't double it up or anything, and mine's done okay. But I feel almost like I'm cutting like tissue paper or receipt paper. It's so thin. When I had to do bulletin boards, long before the Cricut, this is what we would do. We would have the shape of the letters and lay it on the construction paper and trace it, and I would staple a bunch of sheets together to be able to cut multiple colors or seasons at once. So then I had several of my bulletin boards ready to go. Now it's so different because I have machines that can do all that. It's just hard to believe. All right, so I have my letter L. So I would say the trickiest one, because of the small space, is the letter I. It's not a hard letter to cut out, but it's just because I chose this green, I didn't want another like notebook looking piece. I wanted to vary up the pattern, so that's why I chose this one. So just be mindful when you're sticking it on here that it is a little bit more of a tight fit. But if you mess up, you have a second piece. So this summer is a nationals year for my daughter's dance team. Lauren does competitive dance, and our season is started last weekend actually. They had their showcase and kicked off, and she's on the senior dance team, and there's 16 girls on it. And they only go to nationals every 3 years. So this is exciting, and Lauren's a junior. We didn't know if we don't know if she'll actually do dance next year or not. A lot of things have changed. We're doing it a little more modified in the last month or two. And anyway, we were excited because nationals is a big deal. And, you know, you even see movies where they're, you know, like Bring It On, some of the other competition type movies. So we were hopeful. Before, they've gone to Texas, they've gone to California, they've gone to Florida, Vegas. Yeah, so we got our itinerary. We had our parent meeting last week, and we are spending eight days in Branson, Missouri. So if you know anything about Branson, Missouri, I will take any and all recommendations. When I first found out in the fall that that's where we were headed, I was excited. You know why? Because there's an amazing store called Scrapbook Generation that's in Springfield, Missouri. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, while Lauren's at dance every single day, the days I don't have to be there, I can go to the scrapbook store. Well, they just closed their doors. They still have an online store. They're amazing. If you follow Allison Davis at all, she does classes and sketches. She was at She Loves Color, and she's also going to be at Simple Stories. But if you know anything about Branson, Missouri, I used to go to the Ozarks all the time growing up because I grew up in the Midwest, and we would go to St. Louis, and then we would go to the Ozarks in the summer. But I don't really know what to do with this many girls, and we really can't plan a lot because we don't get the dance schedule until 2 weeks before the event. So we're kind of going in there blind, just not knowing which days. But because our team does a production, the production involves every level from our minis, who are like 7 years old, 7 years old, all the way up to our seniors. They're all in this big dance. So we pretty much, the whole team has to be there all 8 days. Last year, their production was Moulin Rouge, and they did really well. The costumes, it was so exciting. This year, their production is called MJ, and it's a compilation of Michael Jackson songs. And I got to see it last weekend for the first time. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. I remember one of the first cassette tapes that I owned was a Michael Jackson cassette tape. I listened to Beat It all the time. But after the dance was done, I thought the dance was amazing, my other two girls and Lauren, 5 of her friends sat with us last weekend. They all weren't impressed. They didn't like it. They were like, yeah, last year was better, Moulin Rouge and all that. And I'm sitting like, this was amazing. But I think it's the difference of the nostalgia for me. And honestly, the nostalgia for the judges, because the judges are all older, and just when they did Thriller and the choreography, when they did Beat It, oh, it's so good. But it was just funny to see that, my middle daughter, Maddie, especially 14, is like, I don't get it. It's not that great. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding? It's amazing. So anyway, she'll be performing that along with the entire team during that week in Branson in June. So we're just trying to have a backup list of things to do. and things that are kind of safe because we don't want the girls to get hurt. I know Silver Dollar City is there, but that will probably be like a last day thing that we do because we want everybody not sunburnt and feeling good and yeah, not worn out from all of it. So if you have suggestions, what? There is a scrapbook store? Oh my gosh. Okay, you just made my day. Okay, I'm gonna go back through later and make a list. Okay. Next to the Wax Museum in Branson. Okay, caverns. Yes, I remember doing that as a kid. We did it once. I do remember now that you're saying that, Katie. Okay. All right, the Bass Pro. Bass Pro would be good to take a lot of the girls to because that'd be air conditioned. It'd be inside doing the aquarium. All right, aquarium. What is Dolly Stampede? So the other things that they have brought up, there's a Titanic museum. And the girls are all obsessed with that movie. It has come back around full circle. So they want to go to the Titanic museum. So I'm hoping that we can buy tickets for that. And then I had another friend recommend the Ripley's Believe It or Not show. They said that that's pretty entertaining. Okay, do you know the name of the store? Because I need to write this down. Then that's what I'll plan on doing. Because most of the days, their convention, you know, their classes, all of it, it starts at like 8 or 9 in the morning and then it goes till 8 or 9 at night. So I don't know exactly how much I'm going to have to be involved other than on the days when the girls actually perform. And I know that my job is mostly just the DoorDash mom, like to bring them, make sure they have food, drink, all of that. We are staying at the host hotel is, I think it's Chateau on the River, I think is what it's called. It's not a chain because when I was booking for 8 days, which is a long time to be in a hotel, I was hoping I could use all these points we've accumulated between going on crafting trips and doing dance and, you know, traveling with my family. I've got so many Hilton points, but the host hotel, it's Chateau on the Lake or Chateau on the River? Okay, Scrapbooks Forever. Okay. Okay, Chateau on the Lake. Okay, thank you. So that's where we're staying. The event is sold out. The Nationals convention is sold out, and they added an additional day. So they're like, you know, no big deal. The hotel's sold out. Are trying to get a flight there, and we haven't decided yet if we are flying or driving. I have a flight booked, but we may end up driving. The hard part is we don't get the schedule till 2 weeks before, which does not make sense to me because if it's already sold out, you know that you're already at maximum capacity. Why can't you give us a schedule until 2 weeks before? But yeah, that's that's where we're at. Okay, Sight and Sound. They had one of those in Pennsylvania. I wonder if Denise is on here or Hillary or Deb can chime in. I don't know if it was like Lancaster, but I've been to Sight and Sound before. My kids haven't. So that's good to know that that's there. The Dolly, that sounds really cool too. See, and I just don't know. There's going to be probably, I don't know, 1,000 girls there. I'm not sure the total number, but it's going to be a lot. And so we were trying to pick things that we could buy tickets for so that we're guaranteed a spot. And I was trying to stay away from what I remember as a kid. It was kind of a main strip of like the mini golf and the bumper cars and all of that. And then you kind of got into more of the Branson. I don't know if it's still like that, but that's what I remember because that was my favorite part, that whole strip area. Oh, this is great. You guys, that's great information. And I'm excited. There's a scrapbook store. I was so disappointed. And I still am probably going to message the ladies at Scrapbook Generation and just ask if I can come by one day because I'll be there. And they had such an amazing store. All right, so all I've done while I'm talking, I cut out the letters and I'm using my liquid glue and I'm backing it so that we'll have our title. All right, it's 4 o'clock, so we'll see. My husband wants to watch the Illinois game, so we'll see if the Wi-Fi, it really shouldn't matter. It's more that my girls love to play online games with their cousins in Texas. They live in Frisco, and they also play with a few other friends, and it just seems to be like that's kind of the way of the world now, instead of, you know, meeting up with your friends to hang out. Now, my oldest does that because she can drive. But my younger two, they meet up with their friends online and they play a game and they're talking, and so that was who I was more worried about. Like, no gaming while we're while we're trying to do an event. And they've been really good about it. Noelle was supposed to be doing her Valentine's box this afternoon, and then Maddie's supposed to be cleaning her room and cleaning up after the guinea pigs, because their mansion is in her bedroom, so it gets a deep clean twice a week, and try to keep it smelling not like a barn, basically. Okay, I'm reading this now. I do know what Medieval Times is, because we had one of those in Illinois. Brunch at the Keeter Center, okay. Okay, so Shannon knew. Oh, Shannon, are you a Pennsylvania girl too? Okay. Yeah, I remember. So we lived in Allentown for 3 years. So I remember we were just married. We made the most of it. I mean, we went to everything. We were Hershey, we went to King of Prussia Mall, we'd be the Constitution Center, just opened in Philadelphia. Like, we did stuff anytime that we could. They throw the rolls at you, okay. Okay, awesome. Branson Landing, okay. All right, so after we're done with this event, I'm going to go back and document all of this and share it in our little dance group so that we've all got it. These are amazing. Thank you. And thank you, Katie. I will definitely reach out. This is helpful. That's good. That improves my mood about Branson. All right. Okay, so I have my cut files backed, and I'm going to find my beautiful blue grid paper. Okay, and I'll get the product strips cut off of this, and I will start on the left page. You will need a corner rounder if you want it to look like mine. I did round the edges on that peach colored paper and then the rainbow paper at the bottom. All right, so I'll get these cut and get it out of the way, and then I will label the photo sizes so that you can see that. I did put regular instructions in under the files tab in the Facebook group. So if you need, and they look exactly like my instructions would look if you bought something from my Etsy shop. Okay, so this is a 6x4, and then this one is a 3x3, and then we have a 4x6, a 4x3, and a 3x4. Okay, so I'm gonna set this page aside for now, And we're only going to work on the left. And this is from our pile B, which everything should be cut and ready to go so we can adhere it, because we have to shop soon. Okay, so I will, for this page, I need one side of this peach grid, a striped strip, a rainbow strip, and then this floral photo mat. And this is that same tip that I had earlier. This just gives a little bit of a pop of color without it being too overwhelming of a pattern. I rounded my corner at the top left and the bottom left. I'm going to do that right now. And then I'm going to ink the edges. And I think I said this earlier, it's coal miner. I do have some inks listed that will be in the basics sale. Quick Quotes always does a brand new collection every year as their, color palette of the year. And so I listed it as a pre-order. We still don't have them. I ordered it, I don't even know, December maybe. We still don't have them. So many things have been delayed with weather, with shipping. There've just been a lot of bumps in the road. So thank you for understanding on that. But I do have it listed, and it will go in that D sale, which I'll get both of those into the photo albums once we do the next sale. But I always like seeing what the new colors are and having that new collection for the year. Okay. Adhesive. Here we go. I'm going to start with this peach grid. And I went about an inch down. And then after that, I've got this beautiful stripe. Which lines up right at the bottom of the peach. And then the third piece is the rainbow. I am going to cut photo mats so that I can place my title in the right spot, but we need to find some pieces first. So I've got my handy dandy basket here. These are all from the Chamel kit except the Smile sticker. That's from the Echo Park sheet, and then the enamel dots. Okay, so we are looking for Enjoy, Another Camera, the little journal block, Share a Smile, heart, ice cream, heart, and then the pie chart and the heart there. All right, I have this pink heart, ice cream I put with the balloons. There's the camera. So there are two different options for the word enjoy. There is this larger purple one, which matches just fine. I would probably cut off the exclamation point. And then there should be the one that I used right here. Same thing, I cut off the exclamation point. Right, and then we're just looking for that journal block, which is easy to spot because of the dark blue. Okay, and then I need pie graph. It does really well. So Tracy was asking about the ink. It's a powder puff chalk ink. I used to love, gosh, were they Prima inks? They were like a turquoise blue. They were great. But I had problems when I started flying and traveling with them. I had a couple just kind of explode, and I would have the sponge part detach from the handle. Well, they don't even make those anymore. I think they were Prima. I can't remember. They were my favorite though. So I switched to these one of the years when I went to Sheila's Color because I didn't have any ink. Mine had gotten all ruined on the flight. And now we don't have humidity here. So I have had more issues with them drying out. But when you first start a ink pad, they are pretty juicy, but it tones down pretty quickly. I have had instances where, especially in the beginning, like it might not be dry right away, but it dries really quickly. This is not like a Tim Holtz or some of the others that you really have to let breathe. I can do it pretty fast and put it down and not leave marks. Now, this pad is probably, I don't know. It's fairly new. I mean, you can tell on here, like this one. This is one that it's like, Lindsay, it's probably time to throw it away because it's faded. So the brown is faded. The pad is finally deteriorated. I've never really had any run out of ink. I end up usually just wearing them out with the sponge. Now, and I ink everything. So when I'm doing, I'm using them a ton for all my samples, but I've had very good luck with them, and I love the variety of the colors. So that's my thoughts on it. Oh, I found this one. Share a Smile. So it's an arrow, and I trimmed it down so it would just be a tab. If anybody else wants to chime in on the ink that you use, I know I've used the Versa Magic, they're little, what are they? They're like teardrop. I've used those too. And I'll sell those sometimes at different events because I can't always get the quick quotes back in stock. The one year she was out of black and brown for months. I'm like, I need these, please. So then that was when I got I think it's Versa Magic. Okay, what am I still missing? Hearts. I'm missing the hearts. Okay, so here's a purple. And I think with that one, it is the balloon. Yeah, I think it's the balloon that I cut off. All right, so I have all my pieces. I'm going to alter a few really quickly. Take this exclamation point off. All right, I'm gonna snip this off so that I have it more like a tab. And then I think the only other one is the balloon. And I'm guessing, I don't really mind the white, but I think I trimmed the white off to make it match the purple. I don't know. So I'm gonna just kind of loosely go around it to get that string off of there. Oh, that might have been why, because the string goes all the way up on the yellow. So to try to get rid of that, you've got to take the white off. That would be why. That's a little bit harder to fussy cut because it is tiny and tedious. Okay. Let me get our photo mats and then we will be good to go. All right, so we have our 4x6, our 6x4, sorry, and our 3x3. I'm gonna run a little bit of ink around those really quickly. And then I'm just gonna lay things out to make sure my spacing works. So I popped up the pink heart. I popped up the word enjoy and the camera. And then most everything else I kept flat in this top part. I guess part of the purple heart is popped up. Just get these kind of generally where they're gonna go. And then I popped up the yellow heart and the ice cream cone. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere my title. And then I can add the ice cream cone and the heart in the middle. Oh, I remember those. Yep, the cat's eye. I may still have a couple. I'm sure they're dead. That's one thing that has been hard living in Colorado is the lack of moisture and humidity. I mean, we're basically considered high desert. It snows, but even our snow is very dry. But it wreaks havoc on your stickers, on your glue, your ink, all of it. And coming from the Midwest, just was not used to that. But I have had good luck with the quick quotes. All right, so I kind of deviated to the side a little bit here. I'm going to pop up the reasons to smile and the heart. Right, and then we'll layer this other heart on top of it. So I'm just gonna put the foam over here and I'm gonna use the glue stick for this. Okay, so we've got that part. We add our photo and accent. Okay, and then I'm just going to finish the rest of the title over here. So I've got these two positioned how I want them. And then I'll add the word enjoy. Again, super thin, so more foam squares than you think, probably. Than you think are necessary because it'll sink. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere the journal block down because it is flat, and then I'll build these other pieces back around it. Yeah, I need to go over just a little bit. Let's see if I can lift this up. Thank you. Now I might have gone over a little bit to not be able to fit my Share a Smile as well, but I'm still gonna, I can't tuck it under, but I can just stick it to the side here. Okay, and then the purple heart. And the camera. And then you'll add the light blue enamel dots. That'll go up here. And then this other piece is from the Echo Park sticker sheet. And it is, here it is, all the way over here to the side, the word smile. All right, left side done. Whew, we've got about 7 minutes. Our other side should go together pretty quickly because we have just the one piece that's the 3 hearts, so the cluster. And then we have a couple of our pieces from our Chamel pack and then a few stickers. We already have our paper ready to go. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. And then you'll just need what's left from your bee pile. And we're going to do the same thing that we did last time, just on the other side. So I'm going to round these corners, add some ink. All right, I just got a whiff of dinner. It smells so good. It's been a long time since lunch. We've been together a long time. All right, add this striped strip. I keep looking at my hand and thinking I have a sticker. I had a Sharpie incident earlier, so I've got Sharpie on my, oh, it's come off more so. I've washed my hands quite a few times, but when I was doing the sales earlier, I dropped the Sharpie and was trying to grab it so it didn't land on the carpet and got it all over myself. All right, I'm going to adhere these pieces. And for just a moment, I'm going to pull this other side so that they line up. You probably are working with yours side by side and not have a sample page there. So I just want to make sure that once I get them together in my album, then they're going to be lined up. All right, now it should work. I'll add this final piece, and that's the backbone of the layout, and then now we will just add all of the fun extras. Grab my tray one last time here, and we need the ice cream cones and the rainbow. Here we go. All right, here's the ice cream cone piece. And then the rainbow shouldn't be too hard to spot just because it's blue. There we go, drop to the bottom. Okay. And then the other pieces will be on the sticker sheet. All right, so I'm gonna put my photo mats down. The ice cream, you'll notice that I covered about half of it. You can either trim it off or just cover it up, which I think is what I'm going to do. And then we'll add our final touches. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is lay it on here first. Sorry, try not to put my head in the camera. Give it a little more adhesive. And then line it up. Right there. We've got a 4x3 photo. Okay, and then we'll have this rainbow strip right here in between. And then our 3x4 photo. And then I did use foam adhesive to pop up the heart cluster. And then we'll add our stickers and we will wrap up. I think that you've accomplished a lot today. If you're still hanging in there, hopefully you've got both layouts finished. You have all the pieces cut for the third layout to go together. The only part on the third layout that you have to pay attention to is a few of the strips that are shorter. You know, just kind of be mindful. There are basically 3 different lengths. It's a pattern because that's just how my brain works. So once you kind of figure that out, that, oh, this is the shortest, this is the longest, that's the middle, it's very easy to line those up. Okay, I'm doing it a little lower this time. Add my hearts here, and then let's find those stickers. Okay, so next will be shopping and prizes. We're probably gonna start about 5 minutes late just to give me a second to shift over. So I found this, it's right next to the word smile. It's a good day to have a good day. I'm going to pop it up. And then I used 2 tiny smiley faces. I'll show you where those are. Okay, there's a pink smiley here and then a peach one right here. I use those similar to how I would use enamel dots. Echo Park is really good about putting teeny tiny stickers that you can kind of mimic the look of the dots. All right, and then our only other piece is this tab, and I didn't peel the adhesive off the foam squares so that later on when I have my photos, I can slip it underneath. So I'm just going to take a large foam square and trim it into little strips. And I actually put the adhesive here. I will not uncover this one, but I will uncover this one. So then I know that it's not on the photo. Oh, I actually picked the wrong, that's okay, it still goes. I picked the smiley face tab instead of the floral right there next to it. Okay, so there you have it. Enamel dots go right here. I will find those at some point. Let me grab my other page. So we've got our finished project. All right, I hope that you were able to get this done. that it wasn't too frustrating for you. And I hope that you've got some great photos to be able to add to these colorful everyday pages. I am going to, let's say that will just give me until 4:40 Mountain Time. So that's like 8 minutes. So give me 8 minutes so that I can shift over to where we're gonna do prizes and sale. And I will be back and I'll see you then. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon.